next speaker has served as the Undersecretary of State for Arms Control and International Security Affairs and distinguished American diplomat. Please welcome Ambassador Robert Joseph.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Rajavi, thank you for your vision. Thank you for your leadership of a great and historic cause. You were truly inspirational, not just for our generation, but for the next generation and the generation after that, those who will live for certain in a free Iran. I send my very best to all of the brave women and men at Ashraf 3. My visit there a few years ago always remains in my thoughts. Everyone I spoke to had experienced a personal sacrifice, perhaps imprisonment, torture, the loss of a family member, but all looked to the future, to a brighter future for their families and for their fellow countrymen. And to those on the front line, those in the resistance units, I salute you. May God protect you. You will prevail. I'd like to talk about the nuclear question, but before I do, I'd like to add to the views that have been expressed concerning the French court's decision to deny our supporters their fundamental rights of free speech and assembly. The decision betrayed the very principles cited in the court documents, especially in the 1789 Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizens. This is a brilliant document that has stood the test of time. It was written by Lafayette, a hero of two worlds who listened to Thomas Jefferson, his American friend. Both individuals played a prominent role in the fight for our own independence. One with a sword and one with a pen, to create a democratic republic, the same objective that we seek in Iran. As we approach the 250th anniversary of my country's founding next month, you can feel the extreme pride of my fellow citizens in our nation. That has been a model and an inspiration for much of mankind. Sadly, politically, my country today is often described as divided into two camps. One that demonizes President Donald Trump, no matter what he does or says, and the other that wants to canonize Donald Trump, no matter what he does or says. Neither camp, and this is what concerns me, may have a strategy that can deter or dissuade the regime from its pursuit of a nuclear weapon. There is no question that President Trump has done more to end the nuclear threat from Iran than any previous president. He withdrew from the fatally flawed JCPOA, a document, an agreement based on appeasement. He put economic pressure on the regime, maximum pressure in his first term, maximum pressure in his second term, culminating in the naval blockade. He conducted very effective strikes on the major nuclear facilities through Operation Midnight Hammer, 1 year ago tomorrow. And he expressed support for the Iranian people to rise up and end the religious dictatorship and promised that help was on the way. When I spoke at an NCRI conference in Berlin earlier this year, I was uncharacteristically optimistic about the fall of the regime. Today, my assessment is somewhat different. It's based on what I believe are the 4 lessons that the regime has learned since the launch of Epic Fury. 1, regime change cannot be imposed by airstrikes alone. And the United States has rightly, in my view, ruled out large-scale ground operations. But this reinforces in the minds of the mullahs that the greatest threat they face is from their own people. And I fear that the commitment in the MOU to not interfere in the internal affairs of Iran will be seen by the mullahs as a green light for more executions and more mass murders. Second, the Strait of Hormuz can be closed whenever the regime chooses to do so. It's become the most beneficial hostage. Iran can hold the global economy hostage to gain concessions. Third, the regime's negotiation playbook still works. You negotiate about the negotiations, you buy time, you develop new forms of leverage, and you make only cosmetic concessions. Fourth, and most importantly, the view that had the regime possessed a nuclear weapon, epic fury would never have occurred in the first place. The problem, in my view, is that all four of these ring true, or at least partially true. My conclusion is this: today there is no higher risk than before that the regime will move to a nuclear weapon. The administration's talking point that Iran will only receive the benefits of the MOU if they behave, that's their word, gives me little comfort. These are not school children. These are evil murderers. And to think otherwise is, in my view, a dangerous folly. And let me say, if there were an agreement, if you suspend disbelief and you come up with an agreement that gives the United States and the international community everything that we want, every provision, every aspect of verification, you can't trust the regime to actually implement it. We know that from experience. It's in the DNA of this regime to possess a nuclear weapon. So what is to be done? The answer is straightforward. We must support the Iranian people by supporting the organized resistance. This is our call to action. We must seize the day. We must change the paradigm. We must work to convince our governments to do the right thing and accept the 10-point plan as the correct vision and the pathway for the future of Iran. Supporting the 10-point plan is both a moral imperative and the only effective means to achieve our national security goals. If we fail to meet the nuclear threat, the noble cause of a free Iran will be set back as nothing unleashes the scourge of appeasement more than a nuclear-armed rogue state. So let me end with 5 no's and 3 yeses. No to a nuclear-armed Iran, no to theocracy, no to monarchy, no to executions, and no to appeasement. Yes to freedom, yes to democracy, and yes to the 10-point plan. Thank you much.